صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله. صلى الله عليك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله. يا رحمة الله الواسعة ويا باب نجاة الأمة، ما خاب من تمسك بكم وأمن من لجأ إليكم. يا ليتنا كنا معكم سادتي، فنفوز والله فوزا عظيما. All together. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم جميعا يا شهداء كربلاء ورحمة الله وبركاته. أما بعد، يقول الله في كتابه الكريم: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ويوم يعض الظالم على يديه يقول يا ليتني اتخذت مع الرسول سبيلا، يا ويلتى ليتني لم اتخذ فلانا خليلا، لقد أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني، وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. آمنا بالله. صدق الله العلي العظيم. Illuminate your hearts and purify this gathering with a loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. A second in honor of Habib ibn Mudahir. A third in honor of the companions of Imam al-Hussein with your loudest of voices. Allahumma salli. One of the most integral concepts within Islamic discussion and Islamic thought is the concept of friendship. We as Muslims are no different with our Christian brethren, our Judaistic brethren, our Buddhist brethren, our Hindu brethren, our Sikhi brethren, even our atheist brethren, our atheistic brothers and sisters, in that friendship transcends religion, does it not? Can I be a friend with a Christian? Absolutely. Can I call a Jew a friend? Absolutely. Can I be a friend with an atheist? Absolutely. Islam is a humanitarian message, my dear respected brothers and sisters. It is not confined to 7th century Arabian Peninsula. That's absolutely wrong. Many times we look at our faith as if we own it. And a lot of times we like to claim that we have the keys to Jannah. If you do not follow my way, because my way is the only way, either my way or the highway, then you are going straight to hell. You're doomed to hell. You're damned to hell. I have the keys to paradise. A few nights ago we mentioned that paradise is the last and final destination for all of our actions. It's a consequence of our actions. Consequences are not necessarily negative. A good consequence and a bad consequence. We know that the Day of Judgment is 40,000 years according to some traditions, 50,000 years according to other traditions. The Day of Judgment is there just to make sure we are judged. Why is it called judgment? Because there will be a judge that will judge our actions to see if we are worthy of entering heaven and hell. And many of us love to claim that you are going to heaven, you are going to hell, you follow that madhab, you follow that religion. And sometimes it became so disgusting. You follow that marja and you follow that marja, don't talk to me again. Subhanallah. You know, we believe إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ, that the brothers and sisters, mu'minun is euphemism here. So when Allah says mu'minun, He is also referring to the mu'minat. So if mu'minun are ikhwa, some people have to question, does that then exclude the sisters? No, absolutely. It's an euphemism. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ, including the mu'minat, that they are brothers, that they are sisters. If we are believers, we are united. Don't come and make these petty issues. You follow this, I follow that. Don't ever talk to me again. Did not Rasulullah say, ذَرُوا الْمِرَاءَ فَإِنَّ الْمُمَارِ لَا أَشْفَعُ لَهُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ, that do not bicker about pathetic subjects, For the one who bickers about pathetic subjects, I will not intercede for them on the day of judgment. A lot of times we discuss shafa'ah. لا أشفع له يوم القيامة, Rasulullah would say regarding the one who bickers about pathetic nonsense and creates disunity. Shafa'ah, intercession, we love to use these big words. Basically means that when you are in trouble, like you are in a court case, and you have no one to defend you, yet you have the world's best lawyer standing right next to you, talking to that judge. The judge says, 5 years in jail. The lawyer comes, wait a minute, I know something about this person. He was good, he was nice, he did this. Of course, these are very broad. In a court case, they wouldn't be these arguments. But just to put it into example, on the day of judgment, there will be a judge. Who is that judge? Rabbul Alameen. He is the Qadi. And if Allah judges you, sometimes in a courtroom, the judge may not have all the information. So he doesn't know. Some people actually were put into trial and they were imprisoned falsely. So many cases. And I come from the great city of Detroit, Dearborn Heights. I live in these areas. So many cases I hear that there are false imprisonments. A brother. Why? Unfortunately, and it's sad to say, that racism is still alive. That someone that will be convicted by virtue of them being from a certain denomination. 20 years later, they figure out this person was wrongly convicted. And then this individual comes and starts studying the law and then becomes a civil rights activist, as we have many individuals that have proven that example. So the judge may not always have the answers, but Allah is that judge. And does Allah have all the answers? There's nothing hiding from Him. He knows what you did. When Allah says, look back at your life recording, that moment right there, when you oppress somebody, why did you do it? Try defending yourself the best way you can. Allah knows everything inside and out, right, left, and center. But who's going to stand next to you on that day? The one that does shafa'ah for you. Who does shafa'ah for us? What better person to do shafa'ah for you other than Muhammad and Al-Muhammad? To put it into another perspective, let's say you work in a very big corporation and the boss of that corporation says, I don't like you, you've been very bad, you show up late, you leave early, you don't do a good job, you're very negative, your bad energy is present in our work environment, and you don't give us sales. You're fired. We have a president that used to always say, you're fired, like that. From a reality TV show to the Oval Office. Zero political experience, but we don't want to get political and we want to get in trouble. That the boss may fire you, but guess who's the best friend to the boss? Happens to be your uncle. It's like, wait a minute, don't fire him. He's with me. It's okay. He didn't know. He didn't understand. It was fine. For my sake, keep him inside the business. On the day of judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, why did you do this action? Why were you oppressive? Should I forgive you? You clearly wronged others. Here's your abode. Go, no heaven for you. And then Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam might step in. He would say, this person used to serve my servants on the 10th of Muharram. Used to go to Iraq and walk to me that distance. It wasn't easy on him. Ya Allah, for my sake. There's a very beautiful story. A reciter narrates the story. And as a disclaimer, this story is referencing a dream. And I do not want to say to you that dreams are proofs. Dreams are not proofs. Many of us have dreams and they're nonsense dreams. But this one has a very interesting message. So nonetheless, it would be nice to mention it. There was a reciter that narrated that a man from Iran was putting up the black cloth on the exterior of the Husayniyah in his town. There was a Christian gentleman that was watching what was going on. This man that was putting up the black cloth on the Husayniyah had a hard time hitting the nail with his hammer because it was too high. He couldn't reach. The Christian gentleman was a bit taller than him. So he said to the man, can you come and help me hit that nail with this hammer in order I can put the cloth on the outside of the Husayniyah so I can express the moment of mourning and grief for our dear beloved Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. The individual came and he just helped him and that's it. Didn't know what was going on, what was the story, what was happening, what was the occasion perhaps. No idea, no clue. This individual, the Christian man, narrates that I had a dream one night that I saw myself being dragged in by ropes into a pit of fire. And right before I was about to fall into the pit, I hear a voice, stop. Don't throw him into the fire of hell. For he hit the nail on the cloth outside the Husayniyah in service of Imam al-Hussein. He does not deserve to go to Jahannam. That you find this man would wake up, have an epiphany in his life, that perhaps this had a message and meaning in my life, that perhaps I was destined for one side, but could it be a small service, a small khidmah, a small act of service to Imam Hussein can be the distinguishing factor between heaven and hell? That one piece, a nail, cloth, can literally give you the keys to heaven? When Rasulullah says, Husaynun minni wa ana min Husayn, you don't just stop with Imam al-Hussein right there. Rasulullah continued with the other 12 ma'soomeen, that Hassan is from me and I am from Hassan. Ali is from me and I am from Ali. And in our books and narrations, the rest of the Imams of Ahlulbayt. So by virtue of doing a service for Imam al-Hussein, you also did a service for Rasulullah. You also did a service for Imam al-Hassan. Also did a service for Imam Ali. And also the rest of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, but they return back to that illumination of Rasulullah. Rasulullah returns back to the illumination of Jibreel. Jibreel returns back to the illumination of Rabbul Alameen, La ilaha illa hu. So when you serve Imam al-Hussein, you indeed serve Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on that day. Coming back to the concept of shafa'ah very quickly and how it connects with the concept of friendship. When we find friends, my dear respected brothers and sisters, be careful who you decide to choose as your friend. Because the same man that will do shafa'ah for you on the day of judgment is the same man that said, if you want to get to know somebody, know who their friends are. Indeed. No better phrase is there describing a relationship and a character and a demeanor of a person than that phrase of Rasulullah. What do we mean? That if I want to know somebody, I can know them by speaking to them. But the best way to know them is by knowing who their friends are, who they like to hang out with. Friends are more influential than parents are. In criminal justice, a detective, when a detective has a case to study and they want to look at a particular person to get some information on them, what do? They're not going to go ask his parents or her parents, how is your son like or your daughter like? Where do they usually hang out at 9 p.m. every single day? Where do they go to? Their parents are not going to have that information. So they're going to go to their best friend on Facebook, let's say, who they hang out with. And this is evident in all of our lives, that perhaps you may get a bad score at school, a test grade that you didn't necessarily like. Are you going to tell mama first or are you going to tell your friend first? Well, if you tell your mama first, be prepared for the sandal. But if you tell your friend first, I see some of you smiling, be prepared. But if you tell your friend first, they're not going to come and discourage you from studying anymore. They're not going to come and say, how could you, why didn't you? No, not necessarily. They'll just say, you know what, that sucks because I also got a similar grade. They'll resonate with you more. We are more influenced by our friends than we are by our parents. And so hence why you find Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam would say that if you want to know somebody, know who their friends are. So we have to be careful. If all of your friends, and this is a warning, if you notice all of your friends do drugs, 9 out of 10, you will also do drugs. And I call out to all my beloved families here and parents. You as a mother, you as a father, if you cannot name more than 5 friends of your son or daughter, then you are doing a disservice to them. Know who they are, who they hang out with. There are certain things they won't tell you, they'll tell their friends before they tell you. Know them. Who is that person they speak with every single day? What are they telling them? How are they getting influenced? What's happening? There was a very sad story in our part of town back in Michigan. A father would always come to Dua Kumail. He would always attend Dua Kumail every single Thursday, correct? One Thursday he stopped showing. Another Thursday he never came. A third Thursday he didn't come. And then a fourth Thursday he came. And so we questioned, where were you the last 3 weeks? You usually never skip the Dua Kumail. And his expression was very sad. He looked very pale. He was very depressed looking. We said, what happened? He said, my daughter has been missing. Your daughter Where is she? Where has she gone? He's like, I don't know, but I informed the police and they're looking and they can't find her. So what happened? He said, we took the deal, the case, the situation to the FBI. The FBI looked, we couldn't find her. We took the situation to the CIA. The CIA found her in 2 days. Where was she? Wa alaikum assalam. Where was she? They said we found her all the way in Jordan, Urdun. A week ago she was here. The next day she's in Jordan. How did she get there? He said we discovered something interesting. On her Facebook, she was always speaking to a particular person. The cops can't access accounts, online accounts like this. The authorities can't do anything like that. But very prominent people in power and governmental positions can. So they said we accessed her Facebook, and there's this one guy she always messages. And it's lovely messages. I love you, you love me, where are you? Hearts, flowers, sending these intimate messages, right? Turns out he lives in Jordan. We tracked her IP address whenever she came on. We found her all the way in Jordan. What happened here? She fell in love with an individual and went all the way over there and traveled. She was 18. Had she been 17, she would have been considered a minor and they would have to go get her. But because she's 18, an adult, so they can't do anything about it. That man lost his daughter. But what was wrong right there? The man had absolutely zero relationship with his daughter. He doesn't speak English and she doesn't speak Arabic. No communication whatsoever. But guess what do they do? You have to wear hijab. Okay, wear hijab. She wears it. No other choice. You have to pray 5 times a day. Pray 5 times a day. No other choice. As far as who do you hang out with, who do you speak with, who do you establish connections with, who do you have relations, nothing of my concern. Sometimes we think just because my son prays 5 times a day, they're going straight to heaven. Baba, no. Some of the people that pray 5 times a day invite you straight to hell. And there are those that don't even pray, but they act more like Sayyidah Zainab than people who say they claim to be like Sayyidah Zainab. I see somebody like Mother Teresa going outside in Calcutta, feeding, nourishing the poor, the homeless. Did not Ahlulbayt do this? In the middle of the night, they would carry bags of food and sustenance and give it to the poor. I see people, non-Muslim, behave like Ahlulbayt more than Muslims who claim to love Ahlulbayt. That when you come and you say, my daughter is mu'min and my son is a mu'min, they would never name me 5 friends and see who they get influenced by the next day. If you can name 5 friends, good. At least 5 friends. But inshallah ta'ala, our friends are those that remind us of dhikrullah. When we look at the ayat of the Holy Quran, Allah testifies there will be a day when Allah begins, وَيَوْمَ يُعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. This is an expression of grief and sadness. Yawm, well, there will be a day, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the day of judgment basically. يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. The wrongdoer will do what? Be biting on his hand. Haven't you seen sometimes when parents are disappointed, they bite in their hands like that you know there's going to be a whooping coming later? Some of the youth are like, yeah, I've experienced that before. That there will be a day, the wrongdoer will be biting on his hand. Why? What happened? What goes on over here? And then they will say, يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا. I wish I had taken the path of the Holy Prophet. Notice, this person didn't say, I wish I took the religion of the Holy Prophet. The path, just the path. The path. I was misguided. At least the path I have been on with the Prophet. No. Just the path I needed, but I didn't. I'll be biting on my hand. But what was the cause for my demise? What happened here? Ya waylata laytani lam attakhidh fulanan khalila. I wish I had never took this person as a friend. Look, Allah, how He uses the word Ya waylata, woe unto me. Lam attakhidh, look at the words. Fulanan khalila. Fulan basically means that person, whatever his name is. Sometimes we use examples. Fulan came to me the other day. Who came to you? In Arabic, Fulan just means somebody and you don't want to mention their name. Or somebody you just want to use an example, but you don't want to bring a name up. Allah says there will be a time in which people will say, I wish I never took that guy as a friend. You can't even handle bringing their name. You cannot muster using their name in your lips. I wish I never took, in our dialogues, I wish I never took his face as a friend. Something like that. Dang it, I wish I never took. Why? What happened when you took this individual as a friend? لَقَدْ أَضَلَّنِي عَنِ الذِّكْرِ بَعْدَ إِذْ جَاءَنِي. that he misguided me from the dhikr when it came to me. Dhikr means remembrance, right? Like dhikrullah, wadhkurullah kathira, and remember Allah. That sometimes our friends will misguide us. So there can be good friends and bad friends, indeed. Who says only friends have to be good? No, there are good and bad friends here. And sometimes they'll take you away from dhikrullah. Not just remembrance of God, but godly characteristics. Dhikr is not necessarily remember Allah. A lot of our Sufi brothers and sisters use this interpretation as wadhkurullah, remember Allah a lot. That literally means fundamentalistically, keep remembering Allah. So they'll sit in circles and they'll just say Allahu, Allahu, la ilaha. Have you seen? For hours. But that becomes very mundane. So do you know how they continue the energy? They begin changing body movement. So sometimes they'll bang their heads. And then there are some extremes where they begin jumping and clapping and dancing. Because if you keep saying Allahu, Allahu, la ilaha illallah, illallah like that for hours, because that interpretation, one is that dhikrullah, literally remember God. Keep remembering Him. Keep it. So Allah, Allah, Allah for hours on end. Look at YouTube videos. They'll sit in a circle, hours go by just saying Allah, Allah. Is this what Allah means by dhikrullah? And that becomes very mundane. If you keep doing Allah, Allah, it becomes very mundane. So what you do is then you incorporate body movements just to keep the energy flowing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whenever He refers to dhikrullah, Allah refers to the remembrance in your affairs. That when you are about to do something, remember Allah at that moment. That'll impact your decision at that time. Yes, remember Allah in all actions that you do. Because when remembering Allah in our actions, you then create that action as an act of worship. One of our scholars used to say, Imam Ali alayhi salam would pray 2,000 prayers a day. He would worship Allah 2,000 times a day. And so he would approach one of the maraji' and he would ask him, Sayyidi, Imam Ali, how does he have time for 2,000 salah every single day? It's too much. I mean, just read his history. He would have to go with a meeting here. You have to go speak with a person here. He has to go help somebody here. How does he have time for 2,000 prayers a day? The Marja' Deen responded with, calm down. I pray 3,000 times a day. What's the problem? Prayer is not exclusive only for salah. You can do something with the right intention and create that as a form of worship. When you eat, if you say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim and you genuinely mean it inside your heart, genuinely mean it with all your heart, that this is a form of rizq. Allah blessed me today with food. He didn't have to give me food. Maybe tomorrow I won't have food. So I say, in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, thank you Allah for this sustenance. That is an act of worship. When you brush your teeth, that could be an act of worship. How so? Because you know that if you don't brush your teeth, you're going to put on a bad image on yourself. That you won't look good, you won't look appealing or attractive. You'll probably even give Islam a bad name when people look at you and generalize, look at this individual, they don't take care of themselves. So with the right mindset and intention, brushing your teeth becomes an act of worship. Salah is worship. Greeting your mother is worship. Smiling at a friend is worship. Some would say looking at the father and mother, just looking at them is ibadah. And Rasulullah indeed would say, An-nadhar ila Ali ibadah. That looking at Imam Ali is equivalent to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And not just looking at Imam Ali. If looking at Imam Ali is worship, then imagine what upholding the rights of Ali and Ala Ali is going to be like. What form of worship, what form of connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has been established right then and there. Moving on, my dear respected brothers and sisters, the individual will then call out, how I wish I never took this, whoever his face was, whatever his name, Fulan and Khalila, I never took him as a friend. Why? Because وَكَانَ الشَّيْطَانُ لِلْإِنسَانِ خَذُولًا. That shaitan upon the human deceives people. Shaitan does a really good job. Some of us like to think shaitan is this evil, stupid, dumb. No, he's very knowledgeable, very intelligent, but also ironically very unintelligent. Because shaitan on one side recognizes Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but on the other side wants to deviate people from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but has the best strategies and the best methodologies to do so. And he will come and try his hardest. And then that day will come in which the wrongdoer will be complaining while biting their hand. I wish I had never took this individual as a friend. And when we look at our friends, my dear respected brothers and sisters, as mentioned really briefly in the beginning, we can have friends with anybody. What are some individuals, however, who are some individuals who we are supposed to look forward to having friends with outside of the religion of Islam? when you look at the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, or the Quran, or the sayings of the Ahlulbayt alayhum salam, where do we see something as an indication as to who should we look forward to befriending? In the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلِتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ وَرُهْبَانًا وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. That you'll find that the closest ones to the ones who say we believe, وَلِتَجِدَنَّ أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى, the ones that say we are Christians. Allahu Akbar. We had a problem with our Christian brothers and sisters. Some people used to call them kuffar, some people used to call them this and that. No. Quran says they are the closest to you in mawadda. What is mawadda? Love. Subhanallah. So when there are some extreme sects of Islam, really extreme ones out there, that'll call them all kuffar, what does Allah call them? Mawaddatan lilladhina amanu alladhina qalu inna nasara. Why are the Christians closest to me, Ya Allah? Why? ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ مِنْهُمْ قِسِّيسِينَ, because amongst them are monks, وَرُهْبَان, and priests. And why? وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ, and they are not arrogant. I look at someone like Pope Francis today. I see a humongous humanitarian activist. Somebody that would say that the Quran is a book of peace when he visited Turkey a few years ago. And somebody that would say do not associate Islam with terrorism. Why? Because it's a book of peace, the Holy Quran that they follow. Indeed, humanitarian rights are embodied by individuals such as this person. So we have no right by calling people that are not necessarily Muslims kuffar. And we analyzed the word kafir a few nights ago. But as far as this definition, it's split into two. There is a kafir harbi and a kafir kitabi. Because we all understood a few nights ago that we agreed it. Kafir comes from inkar, reject. That not all kuffar are bad. I can be a kafir in the Khilafah of Yazid ibn Muawiyah, and somebody can be a kafir in the Khilafah of Amir al-Mu'mineen. It's just a rejecter. So when there is a kafir harbi, the one that wages war against you, there you find the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, then defend yourself against the ones that are fighting you. Those kuffar. Not necessarily Christians. Now the kafir kitabi, the one who is from the people of the book, meaning the Jews, the Christians, and any Abrahamic faith out there, they are the ones that are referred to as the kafir kitabi, that they are rejectors because they rejected Islam, correct, by believing in their own faith, but that does not doom them to hell. It doesn't, because ultimately they perhaps may not have received the true message, and we got into detail about all this yesterday. So we have to make that distinction, my dear respected brothers and sisters, and understand that Allah calls you to make friends. Of course, the best friend out there is the one that resonates with you on your same morals and principles. On the morals and principles and teachings of the Ahlulbayt, what better friend is there than that? Indeed. But if you don't find a friend like that, living in the Western land, we probably may not have that many friends that resonate with us with the teachings of the Ahlul Bayt. What does Allah say? Another alternative? Go find a Christian friend. And if it doesn't have to be Christian, find somebody that's a free human being. Somebody that resonates with you on the principles of morals and ethics. That's all that matters. And then Imam Ali would say that do not befriend a fool, do not befriend a hypocrite, and do not befriend a liar. Did he say do not befriend a Christian or a Jew or another religion or this? No, a polytheist? No. He gave you characteristics only. Fool, hypocrite, and liar. Let me tell you, could Muslims be fools? Yes. Can Muslims be hypocrites? Yes. Can Muslims be liars? Yes. So that is not only bound to non-Muslims, it's also bound with Muslims and all people in the world by that saying of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So let's make good friends, my dear respected brothers and sisters. Have good companions. And speaking on the topic of companionship, we look at a few individuals. As tonight we recognize the personalities that accompanied Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Traditionally, we dedicate each night to a certain personality. Some we dedicate to several personalities of the like such as the companions. Maybe Hurr ibn Yazid al-Riyahi, Abis. You have Habib ibn Mudahir. You have Muslim bin Awsaja. Several companions are recognized and revered today. Tradition will come and change the days, and there's no issue on that. Ultimately, all of these individuals and personalities died on the same day. But for the 10 days of Muharram, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we dedicate a night to remember each and every single one of them. And so you have Abul Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, will be remembered inshallah ta'ala tomorrow night with detail. Muslim ibn Aqil, we remembered and revered his message yesterday, alhamdulillah, and so on and so forth. Tonight, my dear respected brothers and sisters, we focus on the companions of Imam al-Hussein. Indeed, Imam al-Hussein would make that famous line, مَا رَأَيْتُ أَصْحَابًا أَوْفَى مِنْ أَصْحَابِي. And in another hadith, or in another narration, Imam would say, وَاللَّهِ مَا رَأَيْتُ أَصْحَابًا كَأَصْحَابِي. That I have never seen companions like my companions. Why? Because on the 9th of Muharram, not the 10th, the 9th, the night of the 9th, Imam was sitting on that night. They had what you could imagine like a bonfire, and they were all sitting down gathered. The Imam made an announcement, and he said to them, tomorrow swords will be coming out, arms will be removed, and heads will be severed. And this is all because they want me. They're not here for any one of you. Because Imam had 72 companions, as history mentions, and amongst these 72, you find one of the die-hard close ones to Imam al-Hussein are the ones that are mentioned in the books of tradition here. Amongst them Habib, amongst them Muslim bin Awsaja, amongst them Zuhair ibn al-Qayn. And so what the Imam did was he made them a deal that if they are coming for me tomorrow, they're not after you. I give you all permission to leave. Go home. Go. Don't stay with me. Nobody left. So the Imam gave them another chance. What did he do? He had a little lantern. And so he covered the lantern. He said, maybe you feel ashamed leaving. Because sometimes at the moment, the height of the moment, if the Imam says something, traditionally when we're told to do something, we won't do anything unless one person does it first. That'll then get the ball rolling, and it'll motivate and inspire others to also move. Understood? So the Imam said, maybe you guys are embarrassed. Some of you could be. Let me turn off this lantern. When the light is off and nobody can see the other, how about you leave if you want to leave? And I've given you my permission. He covered the lantern, and for a few moments he left it as such. He then removed the cloth, and you find nobody left. And that's when the Imam said, Wallah ma ra'aytu ashaban awfa min ashabi. By God. Now imagine, we never say Wallah for small issues. What kind of an issue this was, so that Imam al-Hussein found it necessary to say Wallah ma ra'aytu ashaban awfa min ashabi. That by God, I have never found companions more loyal than you. We say, Ya Aba Abdullah, tonight we are all your companion. We are a companion to you, O Hussein, because on that night you committed the ultimate sacrifice. Consider us amongst the 72. O Aba Abdullah, you don't just have 72, you have millions today, inshallah ta'ala. Amongst the companions of Imam al-Hussein, one of the very last few that entered the camp of the Imam was a man by the name of Hurr bin Yazid al-Riyahi. This Hurr, as famously narrated in the books of traditions, you find he was the chief of the army of Umar ibn Sa'ad, la'natullah alayh. When news reached Umar ibn Sa'ad that the camp and caravan of Imam al-Hussein was getting close to Kufa, he then ordered Hurr bin Yazid to block the Imam from entering the city of Kufa and block him from the water. So Hurr bin Yazid blocked the Imam from reaching water. It was his original move that the Imam would not have any water. Hurr had no clue what was going to happen, that he heard there was a man coming. Aba Abdullah, they refer to him as, and then they were coming, make sure they do not receive water. Upon seeing the Imam, recognizing who he was, seeing him, he started taking things back, and he started revisiting his intentions. That this man is the son of Fatima Zahra, and I call myself a Muslim. What's going on over here? And I'm blocking water from him? And so Umar bin Sa'ad noticed that he is becoming a bit disorientated, a little bit different. What's wrong? Why do you seem like you're not confident anymore? He would say, no, nothing, it's nothing. And then the Imam would come and lead Salah, these are around 3 days before the Yawm al-Ashir, the 10th of Muharram. 3 days before that. The Imam would be leading Salah, you found Hurr would be praying behind him. Ajib. The man that is here to stop you from practically living and existing is praying behind you, subhanallah. That he would be praying behind the Imam in Jama'ah. Umar bin Sa'ad is noticing, what's going on with this man? Hey, you're supposed to be loyal to us. This guy is our adversary. Don't be loyal to him. Stop, leave him alone. And you find on the 10th of Muharram that this Hur would see the camp of Imam al-Hussein and would hear the children screaming al-Atash, al-Atash. And what happens when they scream al-Atash, al-Atash? Do you know what Hur says? It's because of me. It's because of me that Sukaina is thirsty. It's my fault. And then there are three things that Hur saw that changed his decision and made him go to the camp of Imam al-Hussein. What was it that he saw? Number one, he heard Shimr bin Dhul Jawshan, la'natullah alayh, say that today the heads of these people will be removed. His heart hurt. The second thing he heard was that he saw, actually, Imam al-Hussein the night before the 10th of Muharram, putting fire, setting up fire around the camp so that no enemy tries to get near and hurt the women. And do you know what he heard? He heard some of the men of Umar bin Sa'ad disrespectfully say that, look, he is preparing for hell already. Astaghfirullah. Hur already began right here. His heart was pumping. His heart was going. How could you say that about the son of Rasulullah? And then the third thing he saw that really broke his heart and made him change his decision. May Allah give you patience with what is about to be said. Umar bin Sa'ad said to his horsemen that I want you all to sharpen the hooves of the horses, because when we finish with our mission, trampled over the body of Hussein and Al Hussein. Hur bin Yazid al-Riyahi said, I cannot handle myself anymore. And he got onto his horse and ran to the camp of Aba Abdullah. When he got to the camp, my dear respected brothers and sisters, he jumped from the horse and he fell on the ground like a crazy man. His head, he would keep it low. He was ashamed. And he came to the feet of Hussein. He grabbed and he kissed them. How lucky was he? He kissed those feet. And you know what he said? He said, Hussein, forgive me. I hear Sukaina screaming al-Atash. Please forgive me. Hur, do you know what the response was? He said, oh, Hur, I have already forgiven you. What heart do you have, Hussein? What merciful heart do you got? That the water has been blocked from your daughter screaming the thirst, and you forgave the man that initiated that move. What heart do you have? Hur bin Yazid was the catalyst for this change. 28 other individuals from the army of Umar bin Sa'ad ran and joined Abu Abdullah. And do you know what Hur said before he came to the side of Imam al-Hussein? Umar bin Sa'ad saw him. He said, why do you act like this? Hur, before he moved to Imam al-Hussein, you know what he said? He said, أُخَيِّرُ نَفْسِي بَيْنَ الْجَنَّةِ وَالنَّارِ. He's like, I see myself between heaven and hell, and I have to make a decision. On one side, I see Muhammad. On this side, I see Shaitan. I have to make a decision. Where do I go? And he mounts that steed and he goes to Abu Abdullah and joins the ranks and becomes a shaheed. Amongst the other friends and companions of Abu Abdullah was a man known as Habib ibn Mudahar. May Allah bless you all to go to Karbala, because inside the shrine of Imam al-Hussein, there is another shrine next to him, and that is the grave of Habib ibn Mudahar. Habib memorized all the Quran. Habib was a Sahabi of Rasulullah, companion of the Holy Prophet. And you know, when Imam Hussein got to Karbala, you know, one of the first things he did was, he wrote a letter. And he wrote it like this: for my friend and my lover, Ila Habibi Habib, come and join your brother and be victorious with us. Sincerely, your Habib Hussein. And he sent that letter. A few moments later, or actually a few time has passed, and then the Imam would be standing by the edge of his camp and they would see him looking. They would ask him, oh Imam, what are you looking for? He says, I see a man coming. And they tell him, who do you think that man is? Do you know what Abu Abdullah says? He says, Kun Habib. I wish it's Habib. Look at the love he had for that individual. Habib ibn Mudahar was very old. Some may say he was probably in his 70s or 80s. But he had a heart like a champion. And he was a muwali for the Ahlulbayt. And after receiving the message, he came to Imam al-Hussein and he gave him and embraced him and gave him his loyalty. But before any of that, he said, oh Abu Abdullah, may I have your permission to see a Sayyida Zainab? He said, yes, Habib. She would love to say salam to you. I say, how lucky are you, Habib ibn Mudahar? So as Sayyida Zainab wants to send her salams to you. Subhanallah. And then Habib would go out on that day and he would fight like that lion of which he was, and he would return back his Lord, a shaheed, a martyr. But my dear respected brothers and sisters, There was one companion I want to discuss today. Generally, in the time of the Arabs, before they would fight, do you know what they would do? They would introduce themselves in the battlefield. How so? By reciting beautiful poetry, introducing themselves. I am so and so, son of this individual. I come from this ashira and this tribe. I am known for my valor, etc. And I will come and slaughter you all today. They try to boast their name, themselves, to introduce to the enemy that whoever wants to fight me, I am this individual. These are my accolades. These are my achievements. There was this one boy. His father has just been killed, shaheed. Books of narrations don't even know his name. He doesn't have a tribe. You can consider him lonely. All he had was his mom. You know what the books of hadith say? They say his name, all they call him was Ghulam al-Yatim, the young infant, the young orphan boy. He was an orphan. Nobody. He had no ashira, no tribe, no nothing. All he had was his mom. And his mother was elderly. And this young boy was in his adolescence. He would go to Imam al-Hussein and he would beg him, "Oh, Aba Abdullah, let me fight. Let me go and fight and defend you." But the Imam would say, "You're too young. I don't want kids to be martyred. Return back to your mom." The young boy would return back to his mother and he would go to her. Listen, he would go to her crying. He said, "Mother, I have nothing to live for. I want to go and join the ranks of the shuhada. I know in a few moments we will all be martyred, and so I want to go." And so his mother would say, "Return back to Hussein and tell him if he says that you have to go and be with your mother, say I gave you permission." So the young boy would return back. Aba Abdullah would say to him, "Return, you are young." You know what this child would say? He would say, "Oh Hussein, inna ummi hiya allati arsalatni." That, "Oh Aba Abdullah, it is my mother who sent me here to defend you and the message of Islam." Because Imam Hussein would tell him, "You have a mother to go to. Go and be with her." He would respond, "It is my mother who sent me to go out and fight. And he knows in a few moments all of us will not be standing. Let me at least go to the battlefield." And he would go and introduce himself as such. Remember, he has nothing. He has no tribe. He has no name. Nothing. No one knows who he is. But guess how he introduced himself to the people? Wallah, this is the best name. This is the best ashira. This is the best tribe. Look at how he introduced himself. He would say, "Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir." My leader is Hussein, and what a blessed leader he is. سرور فؤاد البشير النظير. He instills happiness in every single heart. له طلعة مثل الشمس الضحى فهل تعلمون له من نظير. They say this young boy would go to the field and in a few moments he was martyred. He was young. The enemies, you know what they did, my dear respected brothers and sisters? They severed his head and they came to the mother of this young man and they threw his head right at her. Do you know what the mother did? She would say, "May Allah bless this head for sacrificing its life for the son of Fatima." She would then go to Imam al-Hussein and say, "Let me fight. I want to fight." The Imam would say, "Go back. I need you to return back to the tents with the other women and take care of them." She would return to the tents and she took the pole from the tent. What tent? No family anymore. Everyone is gone. She says, "I have nothing to live for." She took that pole from the tent and she would go out to the battlefield and she introduced herself as such. "أنا عجوز سيدي ضعيفة أضربكم بضربة عنيفة دون بني فاطمة الشريفة." I am an old lady and I have nothing to do. I have nothing to live for. I will attack you and strike you a painful strike defending the son of Fatima to Zahra. The books of narration would say she actually went out and killed two of those individuals that came to attack the camp of Imam al-Hussein. But there is one more story, my dear respected brothers and sisters, that truly breaks the heart. There was a man by the Euphrates River. He would say, "I see nothing left but you, and you represent to me life." Because when he collected the water, as he was thirsty, he threw it back into the river and would say, "My master Hussein is thirsty. How can I drink when Hussein is thirsty?" Abul Fadl al-Abbas. Tomorrow, inshallah ta'ala, we will commemorate the martyrdom of Abu Fadl. Come tomorrow. You have no excuse. If you have work, try to make time. This night is dedicated for Al-Abbas. Say on the day of judgment. Remember we discussed shafa'ah? Say, "O Abu Fadl, I came to you. Please intercede for me. Do shafa'ah and stand before me on the day. La yanfa'u malun wala banun." Al-Abbas is expecting you tomorrow. Come tomorrow. Bring your brothers and sisters. I want you to even bring your non-Muslims. Let them learn. We are a message of humanitarianism. That is why I am not surprised. I see a Christian died for Imam al-Hussein. Wahab al-Nasrani. This man, a newlywed. He just got married. He was going on his honeymoon, and they say he camped next to Imam al-Hussein, and a lady, his mother, would say, "What is going on over there? What is happening at that place?" He would then go and return and tell his mother, "Oh mother, this is a man by the name of Hussein ibn Ali." And she would say, "That Hussein, son of Ali ibn Abi Talib?" He would say, "Yes." "Why?" She said, "Go with him, join him." "Why?" "Because, oh my son Wahab, his father, had it not been for his dua, you would not have been born." Because you find this lady, Christian, she was having difficulty giving birth. She would go to Imam Ali alayhi salam and say, "Oh Amir al-Mu'mineen, make dua, I have a son." And do you know who was born from that dua of Imam Ali? Wahab al-Nasrani. She said, "Because of his father, you were born. Now go and defend him." I am not surprised when I see that the call of Imam al-Hussein transcends all races, transcends all ethnicities, transcends all religions. For the message of Abu Abdullah is indeed a universal humanitarian message. Allahumma inna nas'aluka wa nad'uk bismika al-azim al-a'zam الأعز الأجل الأكرم 10 times يا الله 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 يا Allah. We, oh Allah, we ask you on the companions of Imam al-Hussein to grant us the ziyarah of Imam al-Hussein, to grant us the shafa'ah of Imam al-Hussein, to allow us to be considered the khuddam of Imam al-Hussein. Oh Allah, we ask you on behalf of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas to make sure all of our sick ones are cured, to allow us to be considered amongst the warriors of Abu Abdullah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we ask you to bless us all on these nights. وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء سيما من أوصانا بالدعاء رحم الله من قرأ السورة المباركة الفاتحة تسبقها الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.